Week 3 is officially in the books and week 4 is already here. Look, guys, do not panic if you're 2-1, if you're 1-2, if you're 0-3, whatever the case may be. Don't panic. You still have time to turn things around, and you can win your leagues in the waiver wire, at the waiver wire. So definitely stay tuned. I'm bringing you my top 10 waiver wire priorities for going into week 4. And at number 10, I have Samaje Perine. This is more of a handcuff situation. We saw Joe kind of struggle in week 3. He was out for a couple plays and then he came back in, and Samaje Perine was getting a lot of the work, especially when they officially took the lead in the second half. So this is more of a handcuff situation. But if Joe Mixon does go down, I think it's good to have Samaje Perine on your roster. He's available in 91% of leagues right now. He had 9 carries, 47 yards. He scored a touchdown. He had over 14 fantasy points. I'm not spending at all any fab. I'm just going to try and pick him up. Maybe if I can put him on my roster, keep him on my bench just in case, or if Joe goes down, Samaje Perine could be a good plug and play in the weeks down. And at number 9, give me Alexander Mattison. We all saw Dalvin go down. He dislocated his shoulder. So I think what we need to do is take into account how long Dalvin could be out. There's already reports saying that Dalvin could already be playing in week 4, but we all know how the injury is. They say, well, he should be fine. It's going to linger for, a week or two. And I think what's going to happen that they should be resting Dalvin, and then Alexander Mattison should be playing. He's available in 64% of leagues. I think he has a high chance of taking the carries. We always say this: make sure you pick up Alexander Mattison. He could be a top 15 guy week in and week out once Dalvin goes down. And this is what it was this week: 7 carries, 28 yards. He scored a touchdown, over 11 fantasy points. If you have him and you have Dalvin Cook, this is a must play next week if Dalvin doesn't play. If he is available in your waiver wire, I'm not spending too much fab, maybe 10-15% of my fab. I don't want to go all in because Dalvin is only going to, in my eyes, is only going to miss 1 or 2 games. But if there are reports come out saying that he could miss, 3 to 4 weeks, then I'm happy to move that fab budget up maybe to 20%, right? So definitely keep that in mind. Go and grab Alexander Mattison if you can. And at number 8, we have Devontae Parker, available in 68% of leagues. How annoying is it that I drafted Devontae Parker? He did literally absolutely nothing the first 2 weeks. He had a combined of 1 reception in the first 2 games and a combined of 4 targets in the first 2 games. And then week 3, he takes off. He caught 5 receptions out of 10 targets, 156 yards, over 20 fantasy points. This is what I was hoping for week 1 and 2. So I dropped him, and now I'm going to be person that's going to be putting some fab in. But at the same time, we also had to keep in mind about the Mac Jones injury, but that's going to be coming down in the later in the video. But if you guys need a good flex option moving forward, let's say you have bye week, somebody's injured like a Keenan or Mike Evans is suspended, whatever the case may be, I think Devontae Parker could be a good plug and play depending on the matchup, depending on the week. So once again, available in 68% of leagues. I think he is worth a roster after I just personally dropped him, which is annoying. It's just classic fantasy football. Go pick up Devontae Parker. Let's stay with the New England Patriots. Like I said, Mac Jones went down. So at number 7, we have Brian Hoyer. Look, he should be available in every single one of your leagues, and this is specifically for a super flex league. If you're in a 1 quarterback league, you kind of disregard this, but for the guys out there in a super flex league, I think Brian Hoyer should be prioritized if you do have Mac Jones on your team. The thought process is the x-rays, we already got the report that the x-rays came back negative. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I guess it's not as bad. It's not a lingering injury. We do not know. Let's wait until the reports come in. Once again, I am not a doctor. But the way I think about this is that if you get reports saying, okay, Mac Jones is going to be out 2 weeks, and I think 2 weeks, you think with a high ankle sprain, okay, I'm going to be spending about 20% of my fab to try to get Brian Hoyer to put him in my super flex position. He's not going to be sexy, but I need a guy to start in that second super flex option. If Mac Jones is going to miss 4 to 8 weeks, then I'm looking at spending more than 50% of my fab because I need a quarterback. If you guys don't have that extra quarterback depth, maybe you didn't grab a QB3, whatever the case may be, maybe there is a guy in the waiver wires that's better than Brian Hoyer, let's say like a Jimmy G, or I doubt these guys should be a Daniel Jones or Jared Goff. I doubt that they should be available in a super flex league, a 12-man super flex league. But if they're not, Brian Hoyer should be available. You should be picking him up, and I will be rostering him Once again, if I'm in a super flex league, he's currently available. I checked in every single league in the world on Sleeper. He's available in 100% of the leagues. So I will be putting, once again, about 20% of fab if he is out 2 weeks. Mac Jones is out 2 weeks, and then about 50% fab if he's out 4 to 6 weeks. At number 6, we have Tyler Conklin, a tight end for the New York Jets, available in 70% of leagues still, and he's been a top 10, top 15 tight end so far the past 3 weeks. He's been getting the target share and the opportunities. Week 1, caught 4 out of 7 targets, 16 yards and a touchdown, over 10 fantasy points. Week 2, caught 6 out of 9 targets, 40 yards, over 9 fantasy points. In week 3, caught all 8 of his targets for 84 yards, over 16 fantasy points. If you need a tight end, if you are somebody that did a late tight end strategy like myself, like a Cole Kmet, like a Hunter Henry, like a Noah Fant, potentially, Tyler Conklin is more consistent and getting the opportunities more than any of these guys, once again, of a Hunter Henry, a Cole Kmet, or Noah Fant. I will be picking him up and rostering him if you are struggling at the tight end position. Granted, these past 3 weeks were with Joe Flacco, and the expectation is that Zach Wilson should be coming back in week 4. But hey, maybe Zach Wilson is going to spread the ball to Tyler Conklin as well. Maybe he is a big part of this offense. Pick him up. Don't spend too much fab. Pick him up. I would say spend about 10-15% of fab and put him on your roster if you are struggling and if you do need a tight end going into week 4. And at number 5, we have Russell Gage. I mean, this is what we expected from Russell Gage coming into week 3. Mike was suspended, Chris Godwin was out, Julio Jones was out. They signed Cole Beasley, which we knew he wasn't going to do anything. And then Russell Gage goes all 12 receptions, 87 yards and a touchdown, over 24 fantasy points. He caught 12 out of 13 targets, so he was getting targeted. He was the guy in week 3. He's available in 52% of leagues. If you need a wide receiver, I think this is a good opportunity moving forward. Mike Evans is coming back from suspension in week 4. Julio Jones is dealing with a partial tear in his knee, so what's the longevity? Maybe he's week to week or day to day coming into each week. Chris Godwin, we don't know the status. They said he will be, out for multiple weeks. Maybe that's 2 weeks, maybe that's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the case may be. Russell Gage needs to step up, and that's what he did. We saw the opportunity that he got in week 3. Maybe that's a trust that he needed to instill in Tom Brady when all these guys are out. I personally think that Julio won't play next week, and also Chris Godwin won't play this week. So the lineup, in my mind, the way it should go is Mike Evans, Russell Gage. He's once again available in 52% leagues, had over 24 fantasy points. I'm spending about 20% of my fab here trying to get a guy in the flex position, but at the same time, I'm also very hesitant on picking him up because once Chris Godwin comes back, once Julio comes back, Russell Gage is going right back down, to the 4th wide receiver spot on this depth chart. So be careful how much fab you do spend on Russell Gage, but if you do need him as an option, I'm happy to spend, once again, 10 to 20% of my fab on Russell Gage going into week 4. And at number 4, the game of the week, which was absolutely insane, the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. Give me Isaiah McKenzie. Still available in 65% of leagues, which is incredible. I mean, I would expect him to have been rostered a lot more throughout, I guess, according to Sleeper, throughout the whole, world, or however Sleeper works. McKenzie did his thing on Sunday. 7 receptions, 9 targets, 76 yards. He caught a touchdown, over 21 fantasy points. I thought Gabe Davis would have been a massive part of this offense this week. He did struggle. He did drop that touchdown. But it looked like he was a decoy coming into week 3, and Isaiah McKenzie was the guy in the flat. Miami was also trying to prevent those big plays in the secondary to, Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. So they kind of kept everything down in the middle and short. I mean, we saw Devin Singletary go off in targets. Isaiah McKenzie catching 7 out of his 9 targets. Once again, pick up Isaiah McKenzie, available in 65% of leagues. He could be a good flex option for some people. If Gabe Davis goes down, if Stephon Diggs goes down, if even Dawson Knox goes down, Isaiah McKenzie could be a big part of this offense. It's surprising to me so far that he's once again available in 65% of leagues. I will be picking up Isaiah McKenzie off of waiver wires right now if he is available. At number 3, give me Zay Jones. We haven't spoken about him in the past couple of weeks. At least I haven't spoken about him. Surprisingly enough, I do have him rostered in multiple of my redraft leagues. He's available in 31% of leagues, and I think if you are a league out there that does have Zay Jones, and you know, maybe you have somebody that is struggling, like a Kadarius Toney, you know, like a Robert Woods, like whatever the case may be, I'm happy to swap, you know, those guys out with Zay Jones, surprisingly. And let me tell you why. It's purely because of the opportunity. In week 1, he caught 6 out of 9 targets for 65 yards, had over 12 fantasy points. Week 2, he caught 3 out of 4 targets, 23 yards, over 5 fantasy points. But remember, that was the blowout against the Indianapolis Colts. In week 3, he caught 10 out of 11 targets for 85 yards and a touchdown for over 24 fantasy points. He was a leading receiver. He led the team in targets. He led the team in yards. He was the guy for Trevor Lawrence in week 3 versus these Los Angeles Chargers, which, by the way, was a massive upset. I don't think anyone was expecting that. Shout out to them. But if you are somebody that needs a good flex option week in and week out, I think Zay Jones could be the guy. Trevor Lawrence has been spreading the ball out evenly to Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk. I am happy to pick up Zay Jones, maybe spend about 25% of my fab, 35% of my fab. Maybe that's a little bit too high. But within your means, try and pick up Zay Jones, put him on your waiver wire. I mean, there's so many people. For example, Zay Jones outscored so many people this week, and he did finish as a top 10 wide receiver. So I'm really excited about Zay Jones. Once again, available in 31% of leagues. If you are a league out there that Zay Jones is available in your waiver wires, go pick him up right now. I think he's going to have consistency moving forward. 9 targets in week 1, 4 targets in week 2, in week 3, 11 targets. The targets and opportunities are there. Do not sleep on Zay Jones. At number 2, give me Romeo Doubs. DOOBS, DOUBS, whatever you call them. I mean, so many people don't know what to say. I mean, I think it's Romeo Doubs. Could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But available in 61% of leagues. Look, this team desperately needs a wide receiver too. And wide receiver 1, to be honest. Allen Lazard was my guy this year. He's still, I think, dealing with that injury, but he did score a touchdown. But I mean, Christian Watson looks like he's not cutting it. He's always injured. Sammy Watkins didn't cut it. He's always injured. He's on IR already. So it looks like Romeo is going to be the wide receiver 2 moving forward if, you know, Christian Watson cannot get healthy. And we saw the connection that Aaron Rodgers and Romeo had in week 3 versus Tampa Bay. He caught all of his 8 targets for 73 yards and a touchdown, over 20 fantasy points. Romeo is the guy for Aaron Rodgers. That's hard to say because Allen Lazard is my guy. But if he continues this way, if he comes out in week 4, and he is the guy that's immediately getting targets and catching the ball, he caught every single one of his passes, which is incredible, by the way, because Aaron Rodgers, we know if you drop a ball, bye-bye. Go back to the bench. I don't want you here if you're dropping balls. He caught 8 receptions. He got all of his targets, 8 receptions, 8 out of 8 targets, 73 yards, once again, over 20 fantasy points. He is the guy here. He's available in 61% of leagues. I'm happy to spend 50% of my fab, whatever the case may be, to get him on my team. Once again, maybe that's a little bit extra. However much fab you do have on your team, then maybe, you know, take that into consideration. But Romeo, if we see consistency moving forward, I'm happy to be starting him in my flex. Once again, available in 61% of leagues. Don't sleep on Romeo Doubs. And at number 1, this shouldn't be a surprise, is Khalil Herbert, available in 52% of leagues. Monty went down. Khalil came in. What a game. 20 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.8 yards per carry. He was the guy this week. And let me tell you something. It is clear, I've said this last week, it is clear that Chicago Bears, all they want to do is run the damn ball. I get it. I love it because I'm a Monty owner, but let Justin sling the ball a little bit. I mean, this team is last in the league in passing attempts, which we were not, I wasn't expecting it. I was hoping Justin was going to be let loose just a little bit more. But I mean, if we got to ride the hot hand, Khalil Herbert, Monty, we saw what Monty did the week before. Let me tell you this stat. Excluding scrambles, the Bears have run for 394 yards over the past 2 weeks. That is crazy. I mean, this is phenomenal numbers for both Khalil and Monty. Monty last week and Khalil this week. If Monty is going to miss multiple weeks, which they said he should be fine, he shouldn't at least miss a game, then Khalil Herbert is a must start in every single league going into week 4. Right? Available in 52% of leagues. I will be grabbing Khalil Herbert and starting him without a doubt going into week 4. Guys, these are my top 10 waiver wire picks. Hey, don't be sleeping on some of these people. Some people I want to mention. A Chris Olave did fantastic this week. KJ Osborne, some honorable mentions for you guys. Mac Hollins kind of did his thing. I mean, he went crazy with targets. He had like 10 targets. Some of these guys that are still out there on the waiver wires that weren't on my list, go ahead, comment down below and let us know if these guys are available. And if you want to pick them up, we're happy to answer every single one of your questions. By the way, guys, we go live every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to answer all your start-sit questions. Relax. There's still plenty of time. Don't give up. If you're 0-3, don't give up. Anything can happen. Drop your comments down below, and good luck in week 4.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.